With a star making an announcement and more, this is Wrestling Rambles. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Before we move on, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Rambles with notifications on, and don't forget to like the video. Recalling the time she ended up punching Dominik Mysterio in the face on Raw, Becky Lynch told Chris Van Vliet, "Oh yeah, 100%, I still have a little cut on my hand. There's a little scab there. It's one of my proudest moments." During that same interview, Becky Lynch brought up her match at WrestleMania 35 against Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair, where it was pitched that Ronda would be nearly tapping out to a Becky armbar. That was the creative laid out. Her driver had taken her to the wrong spot, so she showed up like an hour. We had been talking through stuff. TJ Wilson, our producer, an amazing producer, he was like, "Maybe you have Ronda in an armbar. She looks like she's about to tap out." Ronda comes and we tell her the creative, "You're almost about to tap out." My mom wouldn't look me in the eye or talk to me again if I looked like I was about to tap out. Alright, well, she's probably not going to tap out on the finish then. She never tapped out in her career, understood it, respected it, and moved on quickly. I was going to win. I was going to win 2 titles in the main event of WrestleMania. It was not a big deal whether she tapped out or not. I was winning and she was doing the honors. After suffering a torn pec, Matt Cardona posted this picture and wrote, "Surgery done. The road to recovery starts now. Thanks to all who reached out. Thanks to Chelsea Green for being by my side. Thanks to Daryl for fixing me. You can't kill me. I'm already dead." Taking to X, Sheamus responded to those that have criticized his physique, saying this regarding his return on Raw. Okay, take your best shots. Wellness, too many pies, etc. And then we're done with the photoshopping and shaming. I was aiming for the draft and got an early call-up. My bad on me. Been sleeping in the gym ever since, so watch this space. I appreciate the love too. Discussing how AEW could make improvements, Matt Hardy, who recently departed the company, said on his Extreme Life podcast, AEW earned a lot of goodwill over the first few years, especially during the pandemic and being a different alternative to WWE, whatever else, but I think through some of the stuff with Punk and the Bucks and the fights and the backstage stuff and Jungle Boy, all this stuff, this hurt some of that goodwill. I feel like that probably deterred some people from their support of the company at the end of the day. I mean, that's my honest take on it. I think that you have to appeal to more casual fans. I mean, I understand your mindset where AEW is built on the context of having great matches, having 5-star matches and bangers and whatever else, since the place is very wrestling heavy. If you love wrestling, where the best wrestle, they've even used that as a catchphrase, and I'm okay with that, but I still also think there has to be people that are just casual wrestling fans that are trained in the way like, oh, well, this guy's a big star. I'd like to see him perform. I would like to see him wrestle. I'd like to see her wrestle. I'd like to see this. I'd like to see that. I feel like that would be beneficial. I feel like sometimes AEW plays and caters to too much of a niche audience sometimes, and I think they just need to broaden who they play to sometimes. Mentioning details regarding the revenue for AEW, president of the company, Tony Khan, told Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter on the Dynasty media call, Q1 2024, the revenue is significantly up. We've run more events. We added AEW Collision. AEW Dynamite is strong. We've had good attendance in some markets year over year. Attendance is up. in particular, a lot of successful shows in this run, including Boston, Toronto. AEW Revolution was one of our top US gates ever. On the pay-per-view side, AEW Revolution is one of the biggest AEW pay-per-view shows of all time. It was our biggest pay-per-view since AEW All In and surpassed last year's Revolution, which did really well. The gate was up, the pay-per-view buys were significantly up. With more shows, more pay-per-view revenue, it's been more revenue this year. Big growth there and a lot of opportunities. Also, our rights fees were higher with the 2024 option getting picked up versus 2023 for Dynamite. And the addition of more shows, we had significantly higher revenue for 2024. It's a big growth and big opportunities going into the media rights renewal year and continuing to grow the business going into 2025. Sharing a story about tricking Hulk Hogan by doing a Florida Man impersonation at an event in Orlando, Joey Janela said this to Steve Fall of Wrestling News. GCW was in Orlando that weekend and the karaoke is Monday. I changed my flight. I said, all right, let's do this. I was going to bring a Dr. Fauci cutout on stage and get me and Hogan to beat it up and drop a leg on it. There was a song by TLC called No Scrubs. I was going to sing a song called No Vaccine. I don't want the vaccine. The vaccine is poisonous to me, something. I forgot what I was going to say, but F Dr. Fauci, and then hopefully all the Florida men and women sing along with me, and hopefully we get it on TMZ, but we went a much easier route. We sang Proud to be an American. I didn't know the words to that song. I went outside right before for 30 minutes and looked at the lyrics. And we went up there and did it. It was very nerve-wracking. It went viral and once again made a lot of merch money off that. I came out with a no-holds-barred parody shirt, me facing Hogan. That shirt sold like crazy. I see that shirt all over the place. It's fun to me. I went outside, I smoked a cigarette, I changed into my regular clothes, threw my hair down, and just walked back in. I don't know if they recognized it was me because as Hogan was leaving, I walked up to Hulk Hogan. I said, "Excuse me, Mr. Hogan, my friend Jimmy here. He's terminally ill and he's gonna die in a few weeks. Is there any way to get a picture?" Hogan stopped doing what he was doing to get a nice picture with Jimmy. So yeah, I don't think he knew. I worked the Hulkster. A lot of people don't get to work Hulk Hogan, but I did it, brother. Reviewing advice that Michael Cole gave to him, NXT commentator Vic Joseph told SE Scoops, "Michael Cole is the greatest of all time." I'll say it again. He is the greatest of all time. I've learned so much from him. Here's the thing about Michael Cole. He doesn't want me to be Michael Cole. He doesn't want Corey Graves to be Michael Cole. We all have our own distinct voices. It's how you as a listener hear it. When I went to NXT, I didn't want to be Mauro Ranallo. I don't want to be Michael Cole. I want to be myself. If you're the greatest of all time, why would you not want to pick up a few things from them? There is no quarterback in the world that's not looking at Tom Brady's mechanics or Patrick Mahomes' footwork. If you don't study people who are the greatest, I think it's foolish if you don't. I will take as much as I can from Michael Cole and Corey Graves for that matter and mold it into my own, then hopefully get to their level. During the AEW Rampage taping, Ruby Soho would tell Angelo Parker that she is expecting.
"Angelo, I'm pregnant." I know that it's soon, and I know that we just started this, and I know I just disappeared, but I didn't know how to tell you.
Giving his thoughts on the run that Mercedes Mone has had in AEW, Eric Bischoff noted on his 83 Weeks podcast, "I would have her wrestle before the May pay-per-view. I would have actually tried to build her up in a way to make her interesting and compelling. Right now, I predicted, I was asked, it's not that I came out and started throwing my around just hoping that somebody would be interested. I was asked the question months and months and months ago. Do you think Mercedes will have any impact in AEW? And without even taking a deep breath to express the one-syllable answer to that, it was no. It was. She's not. She hasn't, and she won't, and that's self-inflicted and has nothing to do with her potential or what she's capable of as a talent. It's the environment she's in. It is dysfunctional creative. It is dysfunctional creatively. There's a lack of vision. It's just impossible for anybody to show up and have an impact or move the needle or change the game or whatever euphemism you want to use, a metaphor, whatever the F it is at this point, it doesn't matter. They can do anything they want to do with her, and it's not gonna matter. It's over. They blew it. She's just gonna be Saraya. Yep. Oh, that was gonna be a big thing. Oh, the women's division is going to be, oh, this is it. Game changer. Really? What are we seeing so far? Absolutely nothing. 2 months from now, you will be looking at the same scenario for Mercedes. Not because of her. Or maybe she's part of it. She could be part of the problem. But the real problem is there is just no fundamental understanding of how to build a wrestling company for television in this country at AEW. If they're hiding, they're in the witness protection program. Addressing concerns that fans may not follow Raw when it moves to Netflix, Triple H said this at the Sports Business Journal's Congress of Sports event. That's where the world's going. It's easy for our fan base. We have a long history of changing locations, and a massive amount of our people, like 95% of our audience, just completely comes with us. I think this will be no different. Talking about how he could have been managed by Paul Heyman, Cody Rhodes noted on the SI Media podcast, "In another lifetime, I probably would have made the best Paul Heyman guy. I probably could have been his absolute ace. It just didn't work out that way. It worked out that I was the adversary for his number one guy, Roman Reigns. There is part of me that looks at that, even with the questionable decisions that Mr. Heyman makes, part of me looks at that and goes, that might have been fun. That might have been a good car to be in. That might have been a good person to lean over to right before one of the bigger moments in your life and have something to share. I had that same enjoyment when I had Arn Anderson with me, just have someone who has been there before. There's also beauty in being there totally by yourself. There is a specialness to that. All that said, even with the blood and violence and how bad things had gotten, I was very understanding that he was going to mention Dusty. I stood up when Mr. Heyman walked out. All of this was a conscious decision because of what we were celebrating and how he looked and how he revered my father. I'm not a Paul Heyman guy. That never happened, but we do share that bond that is Dusty. He's one of the very few guys that when they talk about Dusty, I don't roll my eyes or bang my head against the table. He did know him. He knows some things that I don't even know. I was glad he was present in Mr. Heyman's speech, as wild of a speech as it was. In that same interview, Cody Rhodes mentioned how he felt when originally giving up his WrestleMania 40 main event spot to The Rock. My role in all of this was to stay silent throughout the chaos, and I don't always stay silent. I mean, here we are, we're talking now, I'm very active on social, but sometimes you just have to shut your mouth, and this was a great time when I shut my mouth and all these people came out, and I even thought, I wonder if I can quell the storm. I wonder if I can tell them. I think I did. I sent a post out like, hey, calm down. You know, because I couldn't believe, like, oh man, it's flattering, no doubt, but I don't want anyone getting unnecessary hate or anything of that nature in that space. And yeah, I just decided to keep silent, and in the weirdest of ways, having won the Royal Rumble and having been in their last with CM Punk, who had such an opportunity to win the Rumble himself, such an absolute great, I just still thought it'll be fine. Maybe I was in denial, you know, because a lot of people around me were very angry, but I just thought, nope, it's gonna be fine, it's gonna be fine, it will work out. Recalling his initial skepticism of Logan Paul being a part of WWE, commentator for the company Corey Graves told The Gun Show, "I think the world of Logan Paul, and I admit I was as guilty as probably many of the guys and girls in the locker room. What is this? He's going to come in and take somebody's spot. Somebody is not going to be part of WrestleMania because of this influencer. Logan Paul has fed all of us an overabundance of crow. We all have to eat our words and realize that Logan Paul is an anomaly. This isn't going to work for everybody. If you're a fan, don't all of a sudden think I'm going to become an influencer and then go to WWE. It's probably not going to realistically happen. What Logan Paul has done has shown the world and continues to prove to the world that he is who he says he is. You can't make a mockery of our business and survive in it. You can't stink the joint out on a regular basis and still be asked back or be featured in these high-profile situations. Logan has done the opposite. He has shown up, and when the chips are down and people almost want to see him fail, he steals the show. It's inspiring. I think every minute of his actual life is on the internet somewhere, but in case somebody has their doubt and aren't aware of what Logan brings to the table and what he puts in to be a WWE superstar, he does it all. He has the training regimen. He takes it seriously. He's there early, making sure that everything goes according to plan. Logan is incredibly hands-on, and he is such a polarizing character. He's great. That's charisma you can't teach. You're born with that or you're not. You can get better, you can work on things, but for him to show up from day one and get under the collective skin of the WWE Universe in short order, to the point where everyone was hoping Roman was going to smash him. People were rooting for Roman Reigns against Logan Paul. Instead, you get this classic matchup that, to be fair, had no right to be as good as it was. Advocating for Matt and Jeff Hardy to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, Booker T noted on his podcast, "I would love to see him back in WWE. I'd love to see Jeff back in WWE. I want to see both of these guys going into the WWE Hall of Fame. They deserve it. They really do. The body of work those guys put in, the legendary matches that those guys had with teams like the Dudleys, yeah man, I want to see those guys take the rightful place one day. So maybe this is the beginning. This is the spark. I haven't seen Jeff on AEW doing anything in quite some time, so he may be a free agent too for all I know." Criticizing WWE for having Damian Priest in a segment with R-Truth and The Miz on Raw last week, Jim Cornette said this on his drive-through podcast. The promo, "Why are they treating Priest like he still needs to be interacting with all these foolish children? They give Priest the belt to further the angle between Punk and McIntyre. Not necessarily to help Priest, but to further the angle between Punk and McIntyre, which was brilliant. But they could give Priest something at the same time, but just don't have him be stupid with these other people." At a WWE live event, Drew McIntyre would end up taking a shot at CM Punk.
The truth, even if he was actually healthy, which is freaking he'd never show up in Cardiff. That's not a lie. That's not to the bloody truth. I'm in tough times right here because you know what? I'm actually hurt, but I'm still here because I'm on a big bench like CM Punk.
With the Oklahoma State Athletic Commission refusing to sanction a match involving Nyla Rose, who is a transgender woman, this was said in their guidelines for pro wrestling licenses in the state. The commission will not approve sanctioning permits between human participants and non-humans, or between males and females. A male participant is a person of the heterogametic sex born with XY chromosomes. A female participant is a person born of the homogametic sex with XX chromosomes. AEW President Tony Khan would end up responding responding to this, as ITR Wrestling wrote, on April 17th, minutes from an Oklahoma State Athletic Commission meeting were released, showing that the OSAC had voted to issue a warning to AEW after Nyla Rose competed against Alejandra Leon in Oklahoma City on December 20th. Speaking on a media call ahead of the upcoming Dynasty pay-per-view, AEW President Tony Khan said he was shocked and disappointed by the warning and firmly took a stance in favor of transgender rights and equality. I would like to talk about that story with the Oklahoma State Athletic Commission and the warning they issued against AEW when we featured Nyla Rose on the show last December. I was really surprised by this. It's not something I was expecting, and of course I was disappointed by the commission's position and by that warning. I don't think we did anything wrong. I'm really shocked by it. I don't think there should be discrimination against transgender wrestlers or transgender people at all. They have rights. To that end, I absolutely stand by Nyla Rose. AEW stands by Nyla Rose and all transgender people who want to play sports. This is wrestling. There was nothing wrong with it. Nyla Rose is a great wrestler and has been a great world champion. I love Nyla and working with Nyla. She has been a great part of our history. She was the first transgender world champion ever and is a great part of the AEW Together program. She does a ton for the community. She is a great person with a great heart. She is very supportive of the other wrestlers, one of the funniest people on social media. I personally have nominated Nyla to TBS for the best social media presence on more than one occasion over the years. She is an AEW original, has been part of the team since 2019, going back to the first shows. Looking at everything Nyla has accomplished, to put that label on her, it's not right. She is much more than that. She is a great athlete. I hope everybody can look at Nyla and see she is a great wrestler, a great person, and deserves the same chances as everybody else. If the AEW locker room, which consists of people from all over the world and all different backgrounds and beliefs, if everybody in the locker room can embrace Nyla, I would hope the Oklahoma Commission can do the same thing. When asked if AEW plans to return to the state of Oklahoma after receiving the warning from the Oklahoma State Athletic Commission, Tony Khan did not give a definitive answer, but said it was a matter he needed to think about. All I can say is we have a great plan for our shows in 2024 and 2025. We have a great new team and take all of this into consideration. I treat it as a developing story. I'm kind of surprised by this, but we definitely want to do our best to support the fans across America and all over the world and bring AEW wrestling everywhere. We have great fans. We have great fans in Oklahoma. They are important to us. We'll do anything we can to support those fans. It's something we're going to have to think about. AEW was returned to Oklahoma once following the OSAC meeting, presenting the February 21st edition of Dynamite from the BOK Center in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all later.